Hey, so I am way too aware of how the things I say might make me look in the world that you perceive. And there's plenty of us waking up to certain degrees and that have broken through quite a few glass ceilings. But the thing of it is there's quite a few of those glass ceilings as you experience what most of us are deeming as an illusion. And here's the thing. We're all living in a dream. And you can go back to all sorts of ancient teachings that confirmed what was innately happening within me, which is waking up within the dream and realizing all that was going on within it, including all sorts of weird manipulations and what have you. No judgment on them, because once you've awakened within it, you do see that those things help you awaken that much more to what takes place in this world. A lot of you might be aware of a lot of the solar activity, and you may have heard the science behind plasma and how a lot of the solar things that are happening, the massive CMEs that are flowing in. You can even go into CERN about how plasma is consciousness, and consciousness comes from everywhere that exists. And there are times and there are beings that house a space that allow for certain plasma beings to embody them, myself included. But some of these, and again back to, it's all there to help you grow, but some of these plasma life forms are here to create chaos. Mind you, you have to understand that if that's something that's possible, then they haven't fully identified the point of waking within the dream. Because it's a dream for a reason. It's a dream to help you remember yourself, which is not any one thing. And in fact, it's what dwells beyond all things, in all time and all space. And this might be a lot to digest, but it might make a lot of things make sense. I know it's helping me mend my neural network and understanding the power that we have. We have the power of focus, which I like to talk a lot about. But it doesn't mean that we just allow the world to stay sleeping. There are plenty that know that they've come here to be like an alarm clock. And though certain events and certain things might have us hitting the snooze button, it doesn't mean that the process is stopped. Unless you surrender and think that you're not strong enough to be you and do whatever it is you feel called to do in your heart. There's a reason that many will say that the war that's going on is the war within the mind, because the mind is where the plasma, which everybody knows is water. I mean, I don't know if you know about like blood, but within our blood is a lot of plasma. And when this plasma energy enters our systems, it can interrupt thought processes and make a lot of things seem very confusing, to such a degree that some people will even think that it's okay for certain things to take place that hurt others and children and bomb countries and create mass separation from one another. And I guess that's kind of the point of why that goes on. And at the very deepest level, it goes on to wake us up. It's taken quite a bit for us to be like, whoa, why does this not seem right? Why does this not feel good? Why is this so chaotic and why doesn't it make sense? It's because you're here to make sense of it, not to excuse it, not to put your head in the sand, not to deny what's happening with cliche things like, oh, it's all an illusion. I mean, it's those that are on the shamanic path or the path of enlightening that ask why. And in doing so, they receive the answer through the reflective process of whatever the deepest questionings of your soul might be. And so no matter how crazy I might look, I know that I'm always doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And I can see how the dream is shifting upon my awakening and upon yours, and how we are all bit by bit taking our power back and learning not to surrender it to those that are still sleepwalking but convinced that they're not. There are plenty of people that actually believe that they are, and they are to a certain degree, serving a higher purpose. But even those that feel that they're extremely powerful, as I observe, are facing some pretty rough times because they don't understand that they've been operating based on somebody else's will or something else's will. Some plasmoid being from other planetary systems that are creating their own agenda within a being that is not fully awakened to the fact that something like that can happen. And I love my reflections too much to just sit quietly. I will not go quiet into the night. Some wonderful, wise person once said, which is hilarious because you'd think I'd know these names, but I pay attention to the patterns, not the labels. I wish I knew the rest of that beautiful quote, but I'm sure y'all can look it up and see that what I'm talking about is what they're saying. And how people aren't crazy when they start realizing that they're Christed, or they're in a state of Buddhahood, or they're reaching a state of enlightenment, and that it's not people, like, yes, there were certain representations that were embodied, like Jesus came to embody the Christ consciousness, which was an energy and which was a state of awareness that a lot of people don't identify until they hit that point. And then they're like, oh, this is why some of those quote unquote crazy people thought that they were Jesus and were called crazy and stuck in mental institutions, because nobody could hear them as they were awakened within the dream. They deserve honor. They deserve respect. They deserve love. And sometimes they deserve your humility. You're being humble, not like you being humiliated, but people understanding that maybe they had some truth to divulge the whole time, knowing that they were Christ and Lucifer simultaneously, and how knowing that at such a deep level helped them wake up within the dream. And there's not many that make it to a place where they're at peace enough within their soul that they can make claims like I do. And I'm not any higher. I'm just awake. I'm on an alarm clock. I don't hold anything of myself higher than anyone else. I just understand more. And I'm not afraid to share it. And once a lot of people reach that state, which many are, they're sharing it. They don't care what anybody thinks anymore. They are beginning to understand at different levels, different stages. And they're not afraid to lose their own life, because we'd just be losing the dream and starting it again. The goal being waking up within the dream. Dreaming lucidly doesn't mean that when you're asleep you wake up and function in there, although I'm sure it could help because you're dealing with subconscious realms when you're sleeping, and it can be very healing. But this is the dream that we're asked to walk lucidly through. And I am here to help wake you up. I love you.